Okay. So week 3 of the community call. How's everybody doing? Good. Lots of thumbs up.
Pretty good.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, I am going to take a step back for a few minutes and let you guys all introduce yourselves and kind of like get to know each other. And I think in doing this, like obviously like say your name, where you're from, and let's do like one thing that you're really proud of and one goal that you're working towards. All right. And we're going to start with Anna because she's the first person on my screen.
Perfect. Hi guys. I'm doing laundry and putzing around, so I'm gonna have my video off a little bit. But I'm Anna Garzone. I'm supposed to say one thing I'm proud of, and what was the other thing?
Where you're from, one thing you're proud of, and one goal that you're working towards.
Okay, great. So we split our time between Sacramento and Denver. And I'm in Sacramento for the next 3 months, which is really exciting. My whole family's here and my job is based here, so I like it here. And one thing I'm really proud of, I'm going to say something not running related. I don't know if that was the point. Something not running related is that I'm just a really involved and really great aunt to my nieces. There's 3 of them, and I'm babysitting them overnight tonight, which is really fun. I know I was like, but someone has to cover me at 6 a.m. because I have to go for my run. So someone's going to come cover me at 6 a.m. My dad's going to come over and watch them for a bit. But yeah, just very proud of being a really involved and good aunt to them. And then one thing I'm working towards is, I mean, I guess the most obvious thing is running related. I have a 50 miler this summer at Mount Hood in July. So Kristen's really amping up the programming right now, which is really exciting.
That's awesome. I completely relate to your note about being a super aunt. Very cool. Very, very cool. I'm proud of you too, because it's amazing how exhausting watching kids are that like
Totally.
having someone come to cover you for an hour in the morning is brilliant. That's such a good idea.
Well, and it's not even like, when they're your kids, you can be like, okay, go play over there. But they like always want to be interacting with me 100% with them because it's like exciting. Auntie's here. So
Yeah.
I'm excited, but it will be full on for like however,
Cool.
18 hours or something.
I hope you guys like eat snacks and build forts and watch movies and just like have the best.
Take them on a run. The littlest one goes in the stroller and the older ones ride their bikes. So we try to get out for that to the point where now I go over and they're like, can we go for a run? So it's very exciting. I'm training them young.
Yes. Cool. All right, Andrew, you're up.
Hey all, Andrew Horvatis. I live in well, outside of Portland, Oregon, but I'm on the Washington side with my fiance Kaylee, who is also one of Kristen's athletes, but not on the call this morning. Let's see, something I'm proud of. I ran my first 100 miler a few months ago. And I wasn't sure how it would go and ended up like beating my A plan, which caused some scrambling for my crew, but that was pretty unexpected. Um, what I'm looking forward to, I enjoyed almost every single bit of that, all 31 hours. And so now I'm like, I should obviously go further. Like this is the natural reaction. So yeah, trying to start planning some fun, longer or multi-day stuff.
Oh, yeah, that was one of the most fun races I've been to. So when Andrew said he ran faster than he thought he would, we were relying on his fiance's spidey senses because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning and she looked at the crew and she's like, guys, I have a feeling he's running faster than we think he is. And we were like, what? No way. And then we just decided kind of on a whim to go to this aid station that we thought he might be at. And he was crushing, like running so fast that we were all like covered in glitter, had like snacks and everywhere in the car, like racing to get to him. So it was like so cool. And he's got a track mile coming up in a few weeks that we're preparing for. So like this guy's range is just like, whew, it's going to be a really fun year.
What's a track mile? Like just go run a mile as fast as you can?
Yeah,
Oh.
there's an event called the Rose City Mile in Portland, and Andrew signed up for the mile.
The funny
Oh,
thing
yeah.
is the friends that I'm signed up for it with it for, we're like, we're gonna be the three slowest people there. Like, cause you know, it's Portland, it's like track city. So like you're gonna have all these people who are like, you know, running 4-minute miles and we'll see what I end up doing. But yeah, I think if we total the 100-mile time and the 1-mile time, I might be at the top of the group that's there.
Yeah,
I feel like that should be a division.
I think so too. I definitely think so. Like if you've run 100 miles in the last 3 months and you run like a 5-minute mile at this event, you win like $1,000. I think that that's fair. So, all right, Chris, you are next on my screen.
Hey everyone, nice to meet you all. Chris Sobey, I live in Pine, Colorado, which is outside of Denver in the mountains. One thing I'm proud of, I don't know. I think I'll do that one last. Goal I'm working toward is the Cascade Crest 100. So doing a 50-miler in a couple weeks to kind of gear up for that. And then we're heading to Cascade. Andrew already messaged me on Slack and said he'd pace. So that was really awesome. I think I'm like most proud of something around community, you know, like running's really fun and I value it a lot in my life. And Kristen's been instrumental in my evolution, but at the same time, like if I was just out, I don't know, I run with Jacob and Brett and some other guys, and like the community we have, I don't know if I'm proud of that, but that's probably the thing I'm most stoked on, I guess.
I am also super proud and stoked about that. Chris, you forgot to mention that you ran 100K, 100-mile, and a road marathon all in the same year and crushed every event. So that's definitely 3 things to be proud of, if not just like having the best year of all time.
Yeah,
He
thanks
qualified for
pointing that out.
Boston.
Yeah. And he's a Boston qualifier. So it wasn't like a slow road marathon. It was like I have a video of him like dancing through one of the aid stations. Yeah, just so fun. So cool. So excited.
It was a good year. Thanks for reminding
Great
me.
year. Yeah. All right, let's see. Ren, you are up next.
Hello, I'm Ren. I'm from Columbia, Maryland, which is just outside of Baltimore. Every time I say I'm from outside of Baltimore, somebody says like on the wire. So yes. One thing I'm proud of, I'm really resilient. I think I can say this, I have really bad luck. Got strep before my goal race this year, came home from that race with COVID, been sitting in the basement for 15 days, and I'm planning on how the heck I'm bouncing back from that one. So goal number 1 is to get out of the basement. I've got a 50K coming up this fall that I'm really looking forward to. Maybe running the Wine Glass Marathon before that, haven't quite decided yet. And I don't know what the heck else I'm doing this summer, whatever seems like a good idea. Nice to meet y'all.
I think some of my favorite log check-ins have come from Ren. They're just something I look forward to every day. They're so good, and like just getting a glimpse into your world, Ren, is just like such a honor. I don't know. I feel like with this last training block up to Big Sur was just, I don't know if it was a full moon or Mercury was in retrograde week after week after week after week, but the way you handled that was really impressive. And that's like definitely something that I learned a lot from, and I think that like just yeah, the word resilience is like synonymous with Ren in my vocabulary. So
Well, I'm
very
glad the log entries were amusing because there's only so much you can say about X minutes easy on a Thursday morning. So I'm trying to be entertaining.
there was enough though. Like I just yeah, really, really love those updates. So hopefully you're out of the basement soon and testing negative, and we'll get you back out there one of these days. Next up on my screen is Maggie. I am so excited you're here. So excited you're back. Maggie's been like an OG athlete since the very, very beginning of like microcosm days, and she's back, and I could not be more excited. So I'll let you jump in here.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Maggie. I worked with Kristen for a couple years, I think, and then I had to take a break when me and my husband were opening our practices and things were stressful and money was tight. And then we had a baby in the meantime too. So I'm freshly back to running starting like next week. I have a 4-month-old. But I'm originally from the suburbs of Philadelphia, but I live in Norway. My husband is Norwegian, so that's why I'm here. And we're mostly in Oslo and Lillehammer. We split our time between those two cities. I am proud of, I guess what's fresh on my mind, I've been having a lot of friends and family visiting the last month. And so I guess I'm proud of the life I've built here. And I moved here right before COVID and things kind of shut down and I didn't know anyone except for my husband and his family. And now I have a network of friends and girls that I run with, and I have my own business, and it's just been fun to show my loved ones from back home my life here and what it's become. So that's been nice. And then I'm working towards two big things are on my mind right now, returning to running, and I registered for a half marathon in September as my goal race for right now, so nothing too crazy right away. And then I'm also launching a floss company. I'm a dentist. And I just got the shipment with 16,000 flosses. So they're all in my basement. So that hopefully will launch this summer, right around the time when running is ramping up. So a lot of things to look forward to and have fun with and just see how things unfold.
I'm so excited to order all the floss. Like, all the floss. Also, Maggie, your TikTok, when we chatted last time, I was like, I gotta check this out. And if anyone is on TikTok, like maybe you should, if you're not, like get on TikTok because Maggie's channel is incredible.
Thank you. That'll also be how I sell all this floss, hopefully.
You'll sell some to me too. I'll buy some floss.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Next on the screen is Jacob. Hello, hello.
Hey, hello guys. I am Jacob. I am in Colorado Springs. Goals I'm working towards. I have Leadville 100 in August. And then, yay! Short-term goal is to get better in the heat because I struggle terribly after cold winter running. Things I'm proud of. Oh, other goal. I'm turning a car into like a little camper van. That's kind of my project that I'm slightly not really working on. Yeah, what am I proud of recently? Wasa. I was proud of my ability to eat. I struggled with fueling for a long time during ultras, and I have recently cracked the code of being able to get calories in. So super stoked on that.
And when you say that you cracked the code, he ran 54 miles and averaged 380 calories per hour. Guys, like
Half of
his
that was liquid
recovery,
calories.
Still counts.
calories are calories.
Calories are calories.
If it stays down, it counts.
Yeah, exactly. And like his recovery because of that was incredible. Like the return to run post backyard ultra was like, I don't know, did you expect to feel that good a few days later?
I was shocked. I was like walking around, no soreness, like slight little jogging around and legs felt fine. It was awesome. I got sick immediately after, which sucked, but
Yeah, there
oh
was
well.
that. But yeah, like after a race, typically like the rule of thumb is for every 10 miles raced, you take a day off. And so initially in his log, we didn't really know how far he would go because it was a backyard ultra. And going into it, the focus was like, okay, Leadville is the A race. Let's use this as an opportunity to practice fueling, practice with gear, practice like mindset. Like, what are you going to tell yourself at night? What are you going to tell yourself when things start to hurt? Like XYZ, we went through the whole gamut. And for Jacob to come out of this race being like, yeah, I ran 54 miles and averaged a ton of calories per hour and I feel great. That was just, that's like why we practice and training and why this stuff matters so much. And then just, I think with the caveat of Jacob getting sick, just like this was the coolest like recovery period ever. And now we're in the build for Leadville, which is so freaking cool. So here we go.
Yeah, here we go.
Here we
Work
go.
begins.
Yep.
Can I ask a question, Jacob?
Yes.
What's it like? I've never done a backyard ultra. What's it like when you're getting deeper and deeper and you're done with your lap and maybe you're sitting or something and you're like, shit, I have 3 minutes until I have to go again. What's that feeling like? Like, how do you get out of your chair? Like, is it like stoke or do you start to get to like dread or?
I always felt stoked coming out of it. It's so easy because you're just doing like easy mileage. You sit down for 5 minutes, you like eat. It's never really that intense. It's like it's such a different mindset because you're not like trying to rush out of your aid station, right? You're like, I have this amount of time, bottles are filled, gels are back in the pack, like eat mashed potatoes. All right, I got 30 seconds. Let's go to the corral.
Nice, cool.
Yeah. Rub Taylor's feet down a little bit, you know.
Would you do it again?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, absolutely. If you're in Wisconsin, I highly recommend the Wassa Limitless. It's the race directors are the best in the world.
That's so cool. All
You're,
right, to Leadville. Here we go.
Yeah.
All right, next up is Christina.
Hello. Hi everyone. I guess I missed the beginning, but I guess I got the gist. It's like introduce myself and then a goal and something I'm proud of. Those are the things.
Yes. So
Okay.
your name, where you live, one thing you're proud of, and one goal you're working towards.
Okay. So I'm Christina. Hi everyone. I live in Tucson. Sonoran Desert is my happy place. This is our third time living here. We've decided to come and stay. And let's see. I would like to run the Colossal Vale 55K in December. That would be the longest thing I've done. I've done a couple 25 milers and a 50, so an orienteering marathon, which ends up being about a 50K. But nothing never that long. And I'm sort of getting back into running after very sporadic training for like years. Like I keep thinking like, oh, I'm getting back into it, but it's been like many years that I've been getting back into it. So I think really trying to focus on the consistency now and sticking with it. I run the orienteering club here in Tucson, and that's a large part of my life. And just doing orienteering organizing like at a national, international level. I'm about to get on a flight to Ottawa to do some advising. So I guess the proud of thing is that I can do all this stuff and also be from what I can gather a good partner and mom. I think I manage to like pull my own weight and be happy and like be able to do the things that I really want to do, but also manage that house part well. So yeah. That's what I've got.
That's amazing. And I think too, Christina is like the orienteering chapter president person in Tucson. And Colin, my husband, is really interested in, we keep trying to get him to like go because bushwhacking is terrifying and I'm afraid of snakes. So we
They're
keep
so cute.
I'm very much like I need a maintained trail during snake season person. But Christina is also an incredible musician and just had her senior recital on campus, which was super fun to go to and watch and like just experience, because I grew up in band, but I played one instrument, and Christina, you played like 5 in like an hour. It was unbelievable.
3.
3. Well,
Four
to
if
me,
you count
that's
the
5.
flugelhorn is separate from trumpet, then it's 4, but yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
incredible. It was very, very impressive. So yeah. And the fact that, I don't know, I just feel like there's an arrangement of things that you're very good at that like we need to give you more credit for. So you're doing a great job.
Well, thanks.
Huh.
Yeah, and I saw someone who was at Ren, someone said they'd like to hear more about orienteering.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not for I would say everyone should try it. It's not for everyone necessarily, but if you like maps and you like running with a purpose, it is the way to go. I get a lot of satisfaction out of things like track workouts and where there's time and distance is set, and not a lot of orienteers don't like that, right? That's what they're trying to get away from. But I also I like that I'm going to new places. Like every time you go, it's a new course. It's never the same thing twice. And I've also been like all over the world for orienteering, and it makes you go. There are places in I don't know, in New Zealand. Like I never would have visited some of the places I went to unless there had been an orienteering event there. So you go to random little villages and pieces of woods, and you meet cool people. I can go all over the world and stay with people that I've met because it's such a small, small nerdy tight community. But yeah, there are clubs all over the country, and I think of all the people here, though, Maggie has the best chance for lots of orienteering since she lives in Norway, which I lived in Norway for 7 years. The entire reason that I lived there was for orienteering, basically. So that is the place.
Have you heard of or helped anyone with the High Five 100?
No, what's that?
There's a race. It's in Lake City, which is in southwestern Colorado. And so you have to summit 5 14ers, 6 13ers. It's 100 miles, and they basically give you where you have to go the night before. And then you and your crew
wow.
have to get together and figure out your route, and then you execute it the next day. So it's a 48-hour cutoff, like 40,000 feet of vert, but it sounds nuts, but it sounds like something that
It does sound nuts. It does sound like there's an orienteer in our club. So there's a format of orienteering called row gaming, which is a 24-hour, 2 to 3 person, like a team event. And it's instead of having a set course to go to, it's like a bunch of points scattered over a really big area with point values, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot of venture racers like that. There's an orienteer here in Tucson she's doing Western States this year, so she's into the long stuff, and that sounds like a kind of thing that she would do because she's done a similar. There's like an FKT in Tucson with like all of the 5 peaks around the city, and you have to just you do it in the shortest time, and she's done that. So sounds like her kind of thing. There's a club in southwestern Colorado that's doing a version of a backyard ultra with orienteering, where you start a new course I think they're doing every 3 hours this year. So it's 24 hours, and you have to start and if you don't make it back from the course, then you are pushed to another category. So you have to finish each course in the 3 hours, and you keep going. And it sounds really cool, but it's in Durango, and I'll be student teaching in the fall, and it's a weekend. I don't think I can make it there, there and back.
Sounds cool.
But yeah, it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. Also, the idea of being given a map and being told you have 3 hours to hit these 10 points gives me so much anxiety. So the fact that anyone who can navigate that, I've taken orienteering classes through REI, but to do it fast and not panic seems like the ultimate, like, I don't know, like, is that like you achieve, you know, like stoicism at that point, just being able to like navigate through all of that?
Yeah, so actually that's a good, like, there's definitely big psychological differences between the races like that with a cutoff where you choose what you're doing or you have to get everything, and then traditional orienteering races, which I generally favor, which are like you have to get to like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and the fastest time wins. Like I think there's a big difference in how your mind works when you're doing those, because being on ones with cutoffs where it's like, okay, you have 2 hours and you have to figure out what you're going to do, you can make really bad decisions in those last 10 or 20 minutes, right? You're like, I think I can get that one. It's worth 10 points. And, you know, I have the late penalty is however many points per minute. And you don't think about like how tired you are, or if you make a mistake on the navigation, like how much longer it's going to take you to get back. And yeah, I prefer the like, Course Setter has set a series of challenges for me, right? Like from each leg, they've thought about really carefully, like from a start to 1 and 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, and you're focused at any given moment on like solving that problem, getting from like this one to the next one as efficiently and safely as you can. Like I like that kind of challenge, and then you finish and your time is your time. But yeah, there's all kinds of. We should definitely talk about the psychology of orienteering sometime. One thing that Americans struggle with a lot is seeing other people when they're out, because in a traditional orienteering race, you have staggered starts so that you can't follow each other. So like 2 minutes between each start. And so of course you will see people because some people are faster or slower, or make mistakes. And in the US, it's just such a small community that like most time at important races, like you're not around people that much. And if you go to Europe and you run a big relay and there's hundreds of people all running like next to you and around you and talking, and a lot of people like struggle with that. But I think I find that like my like ability to focus goes up if there's somebody near me like running that I know is running the same thing, or other people. I can like I'm like more laser focused. It helps me like shut out everything else. But other people panic because they're like, I gotta run faster than this person, or I have to be able to keep with them, or I need to lose them, or I know people who will like purposely take a bad route choice to get away from people. Because they like don't want to be accused of following, or yeah. So there's a lot.
That is wild. I think that like there's a couple races that are kind of starting to like trail race that are like set up in like a choose your own adventure. Would You Rather is in Forest Park. They do it that way. And then Tiger Claw up in the Pacific Northwest also does it that way. But in sports psychology, there's this thing called social facilitation theory. And it's fascinating because basically this like, I don't know, this like psychologist named, I think his name was like Norman Triplett, in like the 1890s, like early 1900s, started to notice that cyclists tended to have faster times when they would or when they would ride alongside someone instead of riding solo. And so he like tested it, and he created this like fishing rod thing and invented a game. And basically the goal was to wind up the fishing rod as quickly as possible. And he would like monitor people playing the game alone and then monitor them when they're in the presence of other people. And basically what he found was that people worked faster when they were near someone doing the same task. And so that's fascinating because I think in orienteering, it sounds like it's the opposite. This is like setting me up to go down a rabbit hole later.
I think for most people it is like that does happen, because you see that happening in, well, there's more to it too, because it's not just the physical aspect, right? It's two people will go faster together because it smooths out the navigation. Like if one person spots the control and starts going, control is the thing you're going for, the flag, and you're like running parallel with somebody and they veer off to go punch it, like you'll notice it. So you lose that, you're making up for like the hesitations. Like the more people you have, the more eyes you have. So there's that navigational component of it being faster. But I think physically, yeah, that what you talked about probably also plays a role, where like you're going faster because you're next to somebody who's going fast, and you feel like you have to keep up.
Oh, that's fascinating. I think that like when we talk about like keeping easy runs easy, like all obviously that means like keeping it easy, but it's so hard to do that when you go to like a group run because of this theory. Because you're always like, oh, well, I want to run in the front or I want to run with my friend, and my friend wants to like this isn't their second run of the day, or they don't have an easy day, so it's hard to like figure out what that pace is. But I get a lot of questions about that because it's like, what do you do? How do
Yeah.
you pace the group run? So
But you also have there the psychology of like not wanting to feel like you're slowing everyone down.
mhm.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but has anyone been to a group run recently that they've kind of experienced that? Because I think there was Andrew, you guys used to go to the group runs in Vancouver, but you haven't doubled since before the 100 miler. So
I know I'm
it's
getting
been a
the
minute.
I'm getting the itch. I've had a couple of weeks recently where I'm like, what if I did an unplanned double so I could go be social? Um, we do have the Easy Miles group runs here, which are nice because they're like no drop, I guess, which is funny to say, like that feels common for a group ride, but not a group run. And we're pretty clear about like, okay, there's going to be like this person at the front, this person in the middle, this person at the back. And I feel like it's way more responsive to like if the group's chatty and we're slowing down, then like, cool, we're going to like hang out, let everyone catch up. Like it's not a big deal. Because there are other group runs in Portland where it's like, oh, if I'm not running like 8 minute miles on trails tonight, I'm not keeping up.
Yep. Been there. Those are tough. It is cool though. Like there's a group in Colorado, like Chris and Jacob know each other and are buds and they run together. And Brett's not on the call, but he ran the Quad Rock 50 miler last weekend. And the whole time I was like texting with Chris. I was like, where is he? How's he doing? Like just getting updates back and forth. So it's always like really cool to like have that in-person community. So I think like building that, especially in like the Pacific Northwest, is something that I'm hoping to do more of. So yeah. Yep. What else? Does anybody have any like fun big adventure run or plan or this weekend? I know Ren's still just trying to get out of the basement. We'll get there.
Thanks for putting a fine point on it for me. I was actually hoping that I was going to be able to go hiking because I feel fine. I just can't test negative to save my life. But it's going to be pouring down rain for the 17th weekend in a row, which is a little bit unusual for us here. And the last time I was out on our local trails, they had gotten so completely destroyed by erosion and people just messing around out there having a great time that now I'm going to feel like an asshole if I go out while it's raining and tear things up myself. So maybe not.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's funny. Now that I live in Tucson, anytime it rains, I'm just like laying in the backyard, just like soaking it up. Like, yes, please more of this. But I feel like you and Andrew could have a few conversations about rain. He lives in the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah,
But
I probably shouldn't say anything because you know what rain looks like, but I think probably our environments handle it a little bit differently. You're probably a little more used to it.
Well, and our rain is like, it's rarely hard. So I go through the winter and I think even this winter where I was like trying to train wearing a hard shell because I thought I might need it for orcas, I maybe only wore a shell like 4 or 5 times. Like I do most of my runs in the rain just in a long sleeve tee and it's fine, right? Because it's like it's just never that hard. We don't get the downpours. Or if we do, it's like 2 minutes and then it's back to being misty. So I think there's a pretty big difference. Like people imagine the rain out here as being this like overwhelming thing, and it's kind of like, oh, I'm just getting a little wet in the air outside.
Just a little. Yeah. Well, I feel like in Colorado too, and Chris and Jacob probably experience this. I guess will likely start to experience this more. There's this thing called mud season. And like is in Boulder and Jefferson County, it's like Boulder and just south of Boulder. Like if there's a raindrop that hits the dirt, like those trails are shut down because it turns into like the mud that makes you taller and heavier at the same time, like the cartoon mud where you just, yeah, it's the worst. So
Yeah, we did we went up to Fort Collins a month ago, and we were just doing a course preview, and Brett was determined to do it, and it was brutal. I felt bad on some of the, but like where I live, it's mud season, so I'm hosing my dog down every day. And then on Tuesday, I went out for a run and tried to go up high, and I encountered like 5 inches of snow. So it's all over the place. You never know.
This is why I'm glad to be in Sacramento for a few months in Colorado spring.
yeah, that's a conversation Anna and I had where I was like, man, it's a really good time to go to California. Like mud season is the worst in Colorado.
Granted, it has a 95 degrees, so I'm, heat training very quickly coming off of like Denver. One day it's 75, one day it's 25, but we're making it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. Heat training is important. So, Jacob's starting to work on that a bit for Leadville. So, and
Not a heat
Does
fan.
Leadville get super hot?
It's August. I would imagine it's pretty exposed through a lot of sections on it.
Probably get hammered by the sun, huh? Like, because
Yeah.
you're at high elevation, and
And I think when you run through like May Queen Outward Bound, there's not a whole lot of shade on Powerline or Sugarloaf or anything like that.
yeah. It's funny. I was
Powerline-
looking. Oh, good.
Hi, Chris.
Oh, I was gonna say, I was looking at the runner manual for Cascade, and they like specifically called out no Leadville muling. It didn't say no muling. It called Leadville muling. I'm like, Jacob's gonna have a ball having his crew carry all his stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I'm gonna have like handhelds.
Yeah. That's like a couple years ago. I was pacing and crewing a friend, and it was the same year that David Goggins ran Leadville.
Oh gosh.
And his like mule team was so funny because it was like camera crews and like snack trays as he was running through Twin
Oh my
Lakes. Like someone was running with a snack tray next to him.
Were you just like,
guys.
stay hard, stay hard?
Yeah, you're not staying hard enough. Carry your own snacks. Yeah. But Powerline Trail on the Powerline section on the Leadville course used to be really rutted out and like just a nightmare to get up and down because it was so technical. But I think it was 2 summers ago, they did some work to it. And then recently I have a friend who told me that they just like repaved the whole thing. So that's good. That will make that section a little easier. But
Yeah, I always heard that it was pretty technical, but from what I've seen, it doesn't look. Nothing really looks technical. It looks so runnable.
yeah, now it's definitely runnable. When I paced a few years ago, that's where and I ended up getting hypothermia, and like my runner and I both ended up in an ambulance getting like evac'd off the top of Powerline back down to the lake. And when we got into the ambulance, the EMTs were like, who's in worse condition? And my runner she was at like mile 80. We both pointed at each other, and then she like passed out. So I was like, yeah, I don't have great memories of Powerline, but the fact that it is now like less technical makes me more likely to want to go back.
I was talking to someone just a couple days ago about biking Leadville, and they supported what you just said, that nobody used to be able to bike it, and now everyone can bike Powerline because of the work they did over the past few years. So
Yeah. I don't know if it's a good thing or like, or I don't know, but it's going to be interesting. So, but we'll definitely talk more about heat training and like even get into like sweat tests and how to analyze results. Andrew's done a sweat test before. I just retested this week. They're fascinating, and it's really helpful to know how much sodium you're losing. This week I lost 2 pounds of like fluids during an hour run and got home and was like, holy cow, like this is bonkers. So I got to dial things in too, because Arizona, it's got like that dry heat. So you're not super sweaty a lot. And Christina, you know this too. You're not super sweaty. It just like evaporates immediately.
It means it's working.
Yes, exactly. So I gotta start drinking more salt.
I also got the H drop. I don't know why it's blurred. There we go.
Oh.
And so it's like the reusable, it measures sweat rate and sweat saltiness like while you're running, and it has the app. And I have been meaning to put it through its paces. I couldn't all winter because if it's raining outside, you're not going to get accurate results. So now it's finally dry and I can actually try it out. Because I was like, it would be really helpful if I could like at least see, like when I ran recently and I was just thinking about it was windy enough that I had no idea how much sweat I was actually losing because it was all evaporating so quickly.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about. I've never gone into that.
Yeah, there's another version too that I think like has kind of disposable patches. I think they had talked about it on single track maybe. So I just don't exactly feel like spending more money and trying both versions, but I know that there are a couple of options out there.
Yeah, sweat tests are wild. So Gatorade has one. H drop is like a really cool new one that I need to learn a little bit more about. But the one that Kylie Van Horn recommends is Levelin, and that's the one Andrew did and the one that I've done. And yeah, when you get your results back, it's a little overwhelming unless you're like really good with numbers and math, which I am not. So but sort of being able to analyze that data and then apply it to your nutrition plan is really cool. So Jacob, that's definitely something we will talk about and start working on for Leadville, because we'll have to keep the altitude in mind as well.
Yup. Speaking of, I'm gonna go run in the middle of the heat today when I'm done with work.
Awesome. Yes, love it.
Yeah.
Hate it, but love it for you.
I hate it, but it's building, getting tougher.
Yep.
Speaking of environmental differences, I'd be really interested to talk cooling strategies, because a lot of the ones that I hear recommended rely pretty heavily on evaporative cooling, which is great if it's not 100 degrees with 98% humidity, which is what I get to run in all summer. And actively putting water, like if you can swim in the river for 5 minutes, that's cool. But throwing a cup of water on your head makes things worse, not better. So I've been extrapolating from a lot of the research that they've done on horses and cooling, actually, trying to figure out what's going to work best.
Oh, that's fascinating. The horses and cooling part is fascinating. Let me like clarify that. That's really cool.
Yeah,
I feel like
probably
there's,
most people are looking at different research, but that's what I have come up in my feed every day.
yeah, that's very cool. I think that there's probably a lot there that we could apply to running. A lot of times you see articles coming up, research coming out about evaporative cooling, sort of around the time Western States happens, because that's like such a hot course and getting through the canyons is like pretty tough. But ice, staying as cool as possible, staying wet, which, when the humidity is really high, doesn't always help. It just turns into more sweat. So I get that. But yeah, does anybody else have anything they want to share, or have any questions or anything? Yeah.
I could ask a question that might help others. So like tomorrow I have a 4-hour run planned. I was trying to make a course that made sense because I want a course preview, but it's looking like it would be more like a 4.5 hour, 5-hour run. Like,
Okay.
just go for it, or like really try to hit 4 because you don't want to overtrain, or like, what's the thought process there?
Let me see. I would say with North Fork coming up, I would try to stay within that hour. Like if it becomes a 4.5 to 5 hour run, I think that's okay as long as you're fueling really well. And then take recovery really seriously, whether it's like Normatex, foam rolling, a ton of food, and then taking your second long run a little bit easier and maybe cutting the hill strides.
So like, because for obviously like it's not an exact science when you see like a 4-hour run, like you're never going to hit exactly 4 hours. So I was just curious
Right.
what the thought was like. If I go over by an hour, is that like really bad, or just? So I appreciate the insight.
Yeah, no, it's not bad. It's kind of like sometimes in training logs I'll give like a range of time or mileage. It's very similar to that because it's really hard to plan routes based off of time, you know? So I would say 30 to 60 minutes is okay. Just really dial in on recovery.
Cool.
Yeah. Cool, cool. Any other questions? Oh, thank you, Andrew. I just saw that in the chat. Cool.
I swear that Single Track had a discount code to get started, but this was like, I don't know, a month or two ago, and I'm probably am not going to go back and re-listen to all their episodes to find it.
Fair.
But yeah, definitely something I want to play around with more.
Yeah, this is cool. I like that it like quantifies the when, what, and how much to drink in real time.
The one thing I was thinking about, because H-Drop will do that too, and like when I've used it on treadmill runs, and it'll pop up on my phone, which is fine, but like if I'm out running like trails, like a summer long run, I'm not going to pull out my phone when it sends me a notification. So like I wonder if they have the ability to shoot a notification to your watch to be like, oh, now it's time to drink. Like that's really where I need it to be.
Yeah, I bet if you set up your watch, if your watch has Bluetooth capability, like you could get it to do that,
Yeah,
you know?
I'll have to look into it more.
That's cool. That's
There's-
super cool. That would be kind of a game changer for the heavy sweaters in the group.
Mhm.
Sweet. Cool. Well, I'll give you guys 7 minutes back. Yeah, let me know if any other questions pop up. And
Actually, I do have a question, Kristen.
yeah.
What are people doing about the awesome sauce scandal now that some German, I actually do kind of speak German, and so I listened to that video, most of that video this morning, and that the new one that was posted. But they like, sent it and it's only 16 grams of carbs or something. Like, what are people doing?
Oh, I
Just
still
eating
use
out of
it.
Do you
I
still
like
use
it
it? You
still.
just like have to eat 3 times as much.
Well, I buy them in bulk, so I have a bunch of them. So I'm just like running
Yeah.
through the rest of my awesome sauces.
Yeah.
They sit so well on my stomach. Like
I know.
I don't know. I struggle with the idea that a bunch of people on Reddit, like, I don't have a whole lot of faith in it until I see like some more evidence.
So this German nutrition company sent one to a lab for like a lab testing of the caloric and like carb content. Yeah, and it came back at 16 grams of carbs.
So what is that?
What
Is
do
that
you
what's advertised?
guys?
That's like a third of what they're supposed to be, if I remember
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, they say they're 45. I mean, I'm also still eating it, but just like, I usually eat those like and one other thing, and I'm like, great, I reached my 300 grams of calories. But now I'm like, oh, I have to eat 3 of those to get what I actually need to get to. It feels like that's scary. I eat a lot of those normally, and like think I'm eating a lot of food.
And now it's $15 an hour and not
Yes.
You know,
not $5 an hour. Yeah, 100%. Exactly. I'm
that's
like, no,
minimum
I'm-
wage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like science and sport beta fuel, which is
Mhm.
also, I mean, it's not super cheap, but I feel much more confident about the carb content because it's got maltodextrin, and I don't have the most resilient stomach, but they've always sat well for me. So if you want like another gel that kind of like has the same roughly amount of calories, then that might be worth a shot.
Cool. Is there
I
a
love
flavor
that
you like?
stuff.
The nice thing, I actually Beta Fuel has a natural flavor, which is just like generic sweet. But it's sort of nice because I feel like that's the one that it's like even if you're like pretty far in, it goes down really easily. I
Yeah.
would warn against, they have like a version with caffeine and no tropics. I don't know how you say that. That one tastes like straight up rocket fuel.
Okay.
And I've
Yeah,
done
it's
it.
amazing.
Yeah, like it literally feels like I should start flying or vibrating because it's got like a really high amount of caffeine in it and it tastes like it. So that one, just like try it out before you commit to it.
Yeah, it's like 200 milligrams of caffeine, I think.
Yeah, no, like if you're
so
not caffeine
space them out.
adapted.
I don't normally drink caffeine. I accidentally had like a white tea from a cafe the other week and was like, am I on drugs? Like it took me a while to realize that it had caffeine in it. I don't drink caffeine normally, but I only drink it when I'm on long runs or racing, and I'll do like just a little bit. So 200 would be, I think I would have a lot of GI distress probably.
I had the same thing happen with the precision gel, like with the precision non-caffeinated gels. Awesome. Like works really well for me. I like getting the big packs, the like the 90-gram packs. So you can just like take a little bit, roll it up, take a little bit, roll it up. So you can if you get through the whole thing in an hour, you're like, you can run to the moon if you want. But the caffeinated ones did not work for me. Had a lot of like, and I don't know what it is. I'm not like really sensitive to caffeine or anything, and I drink quite a lot of coffee. So it was a little bit surprising, but I'm definitely glad I practiced with it before I like showed up on a start line with it in my hand. But as far as, sorry?
Oh, I was gonna say I tried precision yesterday for the first time and it was awesome. I'm a huge fan. Yeah.
Cool. I just bought speed actually. It's on its way. So
I
Nice.
tried it and I could not get over the texture. It kind of had the texture of frosting, which was weird. Did anybody else have that experience, or was that just me? Did I get a bad batch?
I don't know. I loved the texture because it's like you can almost like just drink it. Like you don't have to, I feel like with like a goo, you have to eat it. Like you have to like in your mouth. Whereas I just tried the precision ones and I could just like put it in and swallow it. So I didn't have to deal with it that much. So maybe it was a bad batch if it was like thick.
I don't know. I think I feel like to me, precision is like the Goldilocks zone between like a Martin gel and a goo, you know, where like the Martin gel is like hard jello and the goo is like chewing like taffy. But I don't know. It is thicker than like a Huma gel or something. But it might take some practice, or if it like gives you that like that gag reflex, there's alternate options for sure.
Would you say precision and Martin serve the same purpose? Or would you use them in combination?
What I do with precision and Martin is if I don't have one, I use the other. But I never use them together. Like I would never take a Martin and a precision in the same hour just because I don't think my stomach would handle that well. But if we're running low on precision and we have Martin, like I hate the texture of Martin, but like it works really well. You know, like once it's down, it's down, and I can like come back to life a little bit faster. But using them both at the same time, for me, does not work well.
What do you do in like over the course of an hour of a race?
Before I found out about the awesome sauce scandal, it was usually one awesome sauce and one precision. And then every 3 hours I would try to eat like a banana or like something real, and then take like a drink or a sip of like a protein shake. So like during I did 100K in February, and it was precision every 20 to 30 minutes with an awesome sauce at the 45-minute. And then by hour 3, I think I went through the aid station. What did I eat? I ate like a banana. I chugged a ginger ale and a seltzer at the same time, and then puked for 12 miles after that. Like, was able to rally after having some protein, like a protein shake, and then went straight back to the precision awesome sauce combination. But now I don't know if I want to use awesome sauce because I feel like they've just lied to us and I'm mad about it. But
By the time I got an order, it was like I placed the order and then the scandal thing had come out and then it arrived. And so I was like, just feeling salty about it. And I was like, well, I'm going to weigh these. Like, these don't seem like there's very much in them. I just was like, I don't know, being really difficult. And with the package, it was less than the 54 grams that it stated. Like a lot of them were 52 or 53 grams with the package. And that was disappointing. Like that was disappointing. Even if the contents of the package had the right amount of like calories and carbs that are stated, it would still be under what they're stating because there's just not the volume that they say there is. Duped
Yeah,
on
the same thing. Just so you're not, I also bought 2 packs of awesome sauce off the feed of like 20 each. So they're upstairs and I didn't return them. You know, I'm just going to use them, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, if you've got them, use them. Just, I think it would just, don't base your entire nutrition plan off of them. Unless you know for sure that you're going to take 2 in an hour instead of just the one, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right, guys, it's 9:30. We did it. If there are any other questions, you can drop them into Slack, and then we'll get a topic going for next week. But the final Friday of this month, May 31st, Kylie Van Horn is going to come on and talk about all things nutrition. So bring all of your nutrition questions. She's open to fielding any and all. And I'll put this in the Slack as well as the newsletter, but just send me your questions by Wednesday of that week so that we can get them to her by Thursday. So she kind of has an idea of what she's going to be fielding. Yeah, I love Kylie too. So I think having her will be great. And it's a perfect time to like set everyone up for success before big summer runs and adventures. So that's it. That's all I got. See you guys next week. Bye guys. Thanks for coming.
Nice to get to know y'all a little better.